Man, you ever have one of those days where everything you thought you knew just gets turned upside down? That was me, Caleb Holt, barely scraping by on my little patch of dirt in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico, when a storm rolled through and left something wild in my yard. Two women, bigger than life itself, sprawled out cold next to my half-dead cattle. Now, I ain't talking ordinary folks here. These were Navajo women, warriors, each one built like she could wrestle a bear and win. The shorter one, I'm guessing 6.5 feet, had arms thicker than my legs, and the taller one? Lord, she was pushing 7 feet, shoulders so wide I swear she could block out the sun. They were decked out in beadwork finer than anything I'd ever seen, jewelry that could have bought my whole failing ranch twice over. But they weren't just big, they were hurt bad. Blood soaked the dirt under the shorter one's ribs, and the taller one was breathing like every gasp might be her last. I stood there, heart pounding, knowing one thing for sure. Helping Navajo out here in 1880s frontier country was a death sentence for a guy like me. Settlers didn't take kindly to collaborators, and I'd seen men swing from ropes for less. But then the taller one's eyes cracked open, and I saw something that hit me like a kick to the chest. Not anger, not the warrior fire I expected, but pure, raw fear. The kind I felt every day watching my ranch die slow, powerless to stop it. She tried to speak, her voice low and strong despite the pain, but all she managed was a whisper in Navajo before she passed out again. I was standing over two giants who could snap me like a twig, and I had about 3 minutes to decide if I was going to be the biggest fool in the territory or find some kind of courage I didn't know I had. I knelt down, hands shaking, checking their wounds. The shorter one had taken something sharp to her side, maybe a blade, maybe a jagged branch. Blood was pooling fast, her breathing all wet and ragged. The taller one had a gash across her forehead, but her eyes were still sharp, watching me like a hawk, reminding me she could end me without breaking a sweat. My place was miles from anybody, 15 to the nearest neighbor, 40 to town. Out here, helping these women was like signing my own warrant. But when the taller one whispered, "Please, sister," in broken English, it hit me hard. I lost my own sister, Mary, to a fever a few winters back, and that word sister felt like a blade twisting in my gut. I cursed under my breath and slid my arms under the wounded one's shoulders. She was heavy as a damn steer, all muscle and bone. The taller one staggered to her feet, swaying but hell-bent on helping, her size making me feel like a kid next to her. Together, we dragged her sister toward my cabin, every step feeling like I was walking off a cliff. The wind kicked up, carrying the smell of rain and something else, dust, maybe riders, coming from the south. We got to my door, and I realized the wounded one's shoulders were too wide to fit through straight. We had to turn her sideways, careful not to rip her wounds open worse. The taller one, who called herself Niall, muttered, "They come," her grip tightening as she stared at the horizon. Through a crack in my shutters, I saw them, 5 Navajo warriors, faces streaked with war paint, rifles slung across their backs. My stomach dropped. Niall pressed a cloth to her sister's wound, her jaw tight. "My sister, Selah, spoke against marriage," she said. "Chief's son wanted her. She said no." That hit me like a punch. All this blood, warriors, danger because a woman said no. I thought about my own freedom to walk away from deals, from fights, from anything I didn't want. These women didn't have that. Outside, the lead warrior pointed right at my cabin. They'd found the blood trail. "How many bullets you got?" Niall asked, checking her knife with a smoothness that screamed experience. I counted 12 for my rifle, 6 for my pistol. Against 5 warriors who knew this land better than I ever would? Not enough, I admitted. Selah stirred, her eyes glassy with fever, spitting rapid Navajo to her sister. Niall's face darkened. "They're not here for us," she said. "They're here for you." My head spun. Me? I'd never crossed the Navajo, never stolen from them. My land was bought fair and square from the territorial government. even if that meant nothing to them. Then Niall dropped the bombshell. 3 months ago, you found a Navajo girl by the river, half dead. You brought her to our village, left medicine, food, no name, no payment. She was Chief Baez' daughter. I froze. I remembered her maybe 14, caught in the river's current, burning with fever. I'd stayed with her, got her to safety, then rode off without a word. I didn't think anyone noticed. Chief Baez swore a blood debt to you, Niall said. But some warriors don't believe it. They're here to test her story. The hoofbeats got louder. A voice called out in Navajo, sharp and commanding, then in English. White man, come out. My hand shook on my rifle. Niall grabbed my arm. Her grip like iron but warm, steady. What you do next decides if you're friend or enemy. The door rattled under a heavy fist. I looked at Niall and Sela, both ready to fight despite their wounds, and I made my choice. My name's Caleb Holt, I shouted. 3 months ago, I saved Chief Baez' daughter from the river. Silence. Even the wind held its breath. Then the leader's voice, calmer now. Show yourself, Caleb Holt. Bring the women. We stepped out me, Niall towering beside me, Sela leaning on her sister but still fierce. The leader, gray in his hair, studied me like I was a puzzle. You're smaller than she said, he grunted. She claimed you fought river spirits. I almost laughed. Kids and their stories. Just a rancher, I said. Found her in the water, got her free. He looked at the sisters. These women shamed the chief's son. Why help them? I swallowed hard. Because they needed it. Same as your daughter. He nodded, like that made sense, then turned to his men. They spoke fast, too low for me to catch. Finally, he said, Chief Baez comes at dawn. He'll decide if your debt covers their defiance. And just like that, I was staring down the longest night of my life. We patched Sela's wounds by lamplight, her fever burning hot, but her spirit unbroken. Will he kill me? I asked Niall, half expecting her to dodge the question. She didn't. Chief Baez fair, but his son's got friends. They want Sela's marriage to seal a clan alliance. Your life might be the price. Brutal but honest. I asked why Sela refused. Niall's eyes hardened. The chief's son's got 3 wives. Beat 2 so bad they lost their babies. Sela saw what happens when you can't say no. That shut me up. Some things cut deeper than knives. Around midnight, Sela woke, her fever breaking. Thank you, she said, her English careful but clear. For helping when it could kill you. I shrugged, said anyone would have done it. Niall and Sela shared a look that said I was full of it. White men don't risk their necks for Navajo women, Sela said. You're different. I tried to laugh it off, but Niall's eyes caught mine in the lamplight, and I felt something recognition, maybe, like she saw a piece of me I didn't know was there. Then hooves sounded outside, too early for the chief. Niall stiffened. 3 riders. Not Navajo. White men with badges. My gut turned to ice. Deputy Marshal Ezra Kane's voice cut through the night. Holt, come out slow. I peeked out and saw him, badge glinting, with 2 other lawmen fanning out across my yard. We got reports of Navajo hitting the Baxter Ranch, Kane barked. Tracks lead here. If the Baxters got hit, settlers would want blood. Any Navajo found was as good as dead. Behind me, Niall tensed, a 7-foot warrior ready to fight. Sela, still weak, was coiled like a spring. Ain't seen any Navajo. I lied, stepping outside, blocking the door. Kane's eyes narrowed. Blood on your porch, Holt. And footprints bigger than any man's. Cut myself chopping wood, I said, but Kane wasn't buying it. He drew his pistol. Step aside. We're searching. I was out of time. If they found the sisters, we were all dead me for hiding them for being Navajo. So I went all in. Wait, I said. There are Navajo here. 2 women, hurt bad, needing help. Kane's gun swung toward me. You're harboring hostiles? You'll hang, Holt. Before I could answer, one of his men shouted, Riders from the north. More hoofbeats, closing fast. It wasn't a war party, it was more marshals, backup for Kane. 6 armed men now, surrounding my place. Kane grinned, all teeth. Search every building. But then Niall stepped out, filling the doorway like a goddamn mountain. The marshals froze. "I am Niall, daughter of Chief Bai," she said, voice like thunder. "This man saved my sister's life. Navajo law protects him." Sela limped out, her size just as terrifying. Kane raised his rifle. "Your law don't mean squat to us." Niall didn't flinch. "My father comes at dawn. Until then, we're under this man's blood debt." She explained the river girl, the debt, the treaty that recognized Navajo customs. Kane's face went white. He knew the treaty was a fragile deal to keep the peace. "We'll wait till morning," he growled. "But if your chief don't show, you're all ours." Dawn came slow, every minute heavy with dread. Kane's men patrolled my yard while Niall and Sela stayed close, their presence like a shield. When the dust rose on the horizon, I held my breath. Chief Bai rode in, not with a war party but 5 elders, faces painted for ceremony. He dismounted, all lean strength and sharp eyes, and faced Kane like they were equals. "You hold my daughters," he said, calm but deadly. "This is a problem." Kane fired back. "They killed at the Baxter place. They're wanted." I didn't blink. "Baxter attacked my daughters. They defended themselves. Navajo law allows it, and your treaty honors our law." It was a showdown, words instead of bullets. Kane tried again, pointing at me. "This man's harboring fugitives." I turned to me, eyes boring into my soul. "You're Caleb Holt. You saved my youngest from the river." I nodded, throat tight. "Navajo law says I owe you a life debt," he said. "But you saved my daughters too. That makes things complicated." He pulled out a bone-in silver necklace, the kind only Navajo royalty wore. "You've earned adoption into our family," he said. "You're my son now." Kane's rifle shook. "You can't claim him." I smiled, cold as winter. "Treaty says we can adopt. Your law protects my son." Checkmate. Months later, my ranch wasn't failing Anna Maria. It was a trading post, bustling with Navajo and settlers swapping goods under treaty protection. Niall and Sela were my partners, their strength and smarts turning the place into something legendary. But working with Niall every day, seeing her move like a storm, her eyes sharp and kindled, did something to me. I couldn't shake it, even though she was my sister by Navajo law now, untouchable. Sela saw it, called it out one day. "Family protects, but it can trap you too." When Chief Bai came back, I braced for trouble. He looked at me, then Niall, and I swear he knew. "Son," he said, "I fixed one problem by making you family, but I made another in your heart." Niall stepped up, her voice steady. "Father, I choose Caleb not as brother, but as a man." Sela grinned, her giant frame looming. "I release him from brotherhood. Let him choose." I nodded. "Then I release you, Caleb. You're no longer my son unless you marry my daughter." The wedding was something else. Navajo rights mixed with territorial law, Niall standing 7 feet tall in a dress that stopped hearts. Sela laughed so loud the valley echoed. Kane and his marshals could only watch, outplayed again. My ranch became a legend, a place where giants worked side by side with settlers, where size meant respect and strength built peace. 6 months on, watching Niall direct our new home's construction, I realized the best things in life come wrapped in impossible choices. What would you have done out there, staring down warriors and marshals, with 2 giants bleeding in your yard? Drop a comment. Tell me, would you risk it all for strangers, or play it safe? Let's hear it.